What's up, guys? Welcome back. So, here we are once again in Wakarusa. Got my next load. It's all ready to go. Got it loaded up and came in here with not much time left. If you follow me on Instagram, you guys saw that. Started my reset. I was wiped. I have been go since I started in October. And that was for financial, words are hard, financial reasons. Had a lot of personal stuff going on. Some of it wound up costing me a good bit of money. Some of it was just existing bills I already had. And as you guys know, the RV industry kind of tanked for a while. It's starting to come back up now, kind of, a little bit. So since I started in October, I took Thanksgiving Day off, and pretty sure that was it. And then I took a few days right around Christmas, but in that time, me and Stephanie team drove to Delaware, 38 hours there, 36 hours back. And that's not drive time, that's from doorstep to doorstep, which is really fun in the Subaru to do that kind of team driving. She drove all day, I drove all night. That car didn't stop. Then we spent 2.5-ish days at her parents' house, which, yes, I wasn't working. I got to kind of relax a little bit, but as you all came in the comments and said, meeting the parents is not very relaxful. But it was still good. It was a good time. Then we came back, and I have been running non-stop since we got back. That was right after Christmas. I mean, obviously, I've taken my required resets and whatnot. And I've had days that I parked, but I've been non-stop working on this truck, and I finally got it. Everything's working. I've got no problems, and now I probably just jinxed myself. Something terrible is going to screw up. Anyway, it's been fun. But if you follow Daniel, the high mileage helper, you were on his live a few days ago, very early February, you know that this topic is, well, we're going to be going over all of the different kinds of the transportation industry, local and regional and company drivers and mega carriers and owner operators and lease operators and all of those things. So she's getting her truck all ready to go because she's got orientation in the morning, so she's getting it fully set up. I'm ready to roll because late tonight, probably around midnight or early in the morning, I'm taking off. I'm going to deliver these, and I'll turn around and be back here by Tuesday when she's done with orientation, and hopefully we're both getting loads west. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath for that. We'll see. But I'm gonna let her finish getting ready. We're doing laundry, getting everything, the last minute crap that you always gotta do before you get back on the road. Let her finish up with that, and then her and I will talk to you about the experiences that we've had so far in all the different types of transport. And I'll see you in just a few minutes. Okay, so we've got the trucks both ready to go. Laundry's done. Well, it's in the dryer. It's mostly done. So I figured we'd come here and have the conversation. So the big differences, your most drastic differences would be from local to owner-operator.
Yep.
So let's kind of break it down more, comparing local to regional. I've never done any of that. That's where you have experience. So local versus regional. What are the differences, pros, cons?
My biggest way to word it is you're home, but you're not home when you work local because you don't really get a 10-hour reset like you do when you're regional or OTR or anything like that. Because you're usually got a set start time and you work till you're done. And I mean, you don't really get a lot of time to yourself when you get off work. Whereas regional, you're kind of out for the week and then you come home to do a 34 or have 2 days off, which is kind of nice to have those consecutive days back to back. And you typically make more money than being local.
Okay. And locals hourly, regional is rate per mile or percentage of load, typically? I mean,
Usually
everyone's going to be different.
rate per mile or percent of load for regional. When you're local, you use some local jobs pay cents per mile or hourly. It just depends on the company. Because when I worked at U.S. Express, we were cents per mile, and then when I worked doing trash, I was hourly.
Okay. I guess that brings up a good point. Let's talk about your history. Like, where'd you start, and then all the way up to where we met?
Oh boy. The beginning, I was a job hopper because it was in the midst of COVID. My first trucking job was at U.S. Express. I was on the dedicated Procter & Gamble account out of Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. I was home every day, made pretty good money. I left there due to circumstances, went around a little bit, got into container work. Not my cup of tea, special kind of crazy, that ain't in me. Then I got out of tractor trailer and I did local dump truck work, triaxle, worked for a couple different companies there. Then it was coming into layoff season. So then that's when I went OTR, and I went with my first OTR company, which was the biggest egg company in the United States, Hillendale Farms. I did reefer work. That was my first time really doing reefer work. Went there, left there, went truly OTR with GP Transco out of Joliet, Illinois. I worked there for a few months, and then stuff happened with my dog Coda, so then I came back local, and I did a local dedicated account for a small company out of New Jersey doing Safeway Acme, where I was home every day. And then I did trash for a little bit, and then I decided I've had enough of this local shit, I want my own truck. And then got my own truck and did that a whole year, and then I ran into you in Dallas.
Okay. So
here we are.
This is why I wanted to bring her in for this, because you guys know my experience. I was full owner op, and then I was full company driver. And when I was company driver, I was percent of load.
I've done cent per mile, load pay, percentage. I've done a little bit of it all.
And then, so so let's compare now. Regional would be closer to like a company driver.
Yeah.
So let's compare those. Full OTR company driver versus a regional.
Regional, usually you got a dedicated area you're running. Like I ran the Northeast. I ran Ohio, Pennsylvania, all the way down to Florida and the East Coast line, the 95 corridor. And then when I was OTR, I ran the lower 48. I've been all the way to California, Washington, Oregon. I've been all the way to Connecticut and Maine and Massachusetts. So I've been lower 48. But your regionals, you're usually running a region because you're usually doing about 2 to 3 trailers a week. Whereas running OTR, you're usually doing like 1 or 2 loads a week because you're running 600 plus.
Okay, so with regional, you're pretty well guaranteed to be home when your cycle's up for your reset. Not always, but that's typically how they try to structure it.
They try to accomplish it, get you home for your reset.
And then if you're local, then you're home every night, but you got to take your travel time to and from work and any type of stuff you have to do when you get back to the house. So your 10 becomes more like a 8 or a 7.
And more like 3 hours.
in that 8 or 7, you've got to cook dinner, do shower, do laundry. Whereas when you're OTR, you have a full reset to do that kind of stuff. And if you're regional, you have a full reset to do that kind of stuff. So those are all kind of how that would work. Now, a company driver versus a lease owner, which is where you have your most experience as a lease owner, and you've got some as a company driver. So compare those.
Lease operator, you got all the expenses. I mean, you're a glorified company driver. That's what you are. The layman term, as people like to call it, for lease ops. I mean, you got the fuel, your maintenance, your truck payment, your trailer payment. But the beauty of that is you get to go where you want to go. You can decline loads. Like, I don't run the Northeast anymore. I stay out of California. They were like, hey, we got a load going here. No, Stephanie, don't go there. No, thank you. Where the company driver, you go where they tell you you go.
Well, it seems like for the company, the lease owner is their best bet.
Yeah, because it takes the burden off of them.
They're not responsible for the maintenance. Mm-hmm. They're not responsible for the fuel.
Yep.
And they pay you a little bit more than they're paying their company driver, but now you got to eat all of that.
Yep.
while making your super inflated truck payment. Now, there's some places out there that don't do that, but most of the time you're having an extremely inflated truck payment.
Yes. Yeah, I was paying what, $2,600 a month just for my truck alone.
I thought we did the math. You were a little over that. You were closer to 3. But anyway, that's here. That's not here or there. That's going to be different at every different company. But the point is, that's a lot of money, and you could absolutely, if your credit's good enough, walk away with half that for your monthly payment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big thing to consider, versus company driver versus a leased owner. Now, full owner op, which is what I've done for a majority of my transportation career, and you're starting tomorrow.
First truck in my name.
You've never been a full owner op, have you?
No.
Okay, so this is going to be new. Now, this is where I get to speak my knowledge. We've let her talk the entire video because it's all stuff she knows. I was a company driver for 7 months, and in that time, I got percentage of load. I enjoyed where I worked. I had a great time working there. The only reason I left was this opportunity presented itself to go back to being full owner op, making a lot more money. So I jumped on it. But as a full owner op, now just like as a lease owner operator, I am responsible for all the maintenance. I'm responsible for anything that breaks down, the general preventative maintenance, oil changes, fluids, filters, all that, all the fuel, all that, and the truck payment, just like in a normal lease purchase. But my purchase is a lot less as an owner op because I got the financing in my name. I got to negotiate for the terms that I wanted in the contract that gave me ownership of that vehicle. Now, essentially doing this, you're dedicated. You have a dedicated customer, dedicated freight, dedicated run. So your rate per mile is a lot higher than average. And that's kind of a back and forth thing. Again, that's going to be different everywhere you go.
Depending on the company, like some of your mega carriers like Snyder, Warner, that got Lease Op, Prime, they got dedicated customers, whereas the company I worked at, we didn't have any dedicated. We strictly ran load board, spot market.
Right. So there's pros and cons to all of it. I mean, if you're a company driver, you got no responsibilities. You get up, you do your pre-trip, you turn the key, you throw that thing in gear, and you take off. You got to take care of the equipment. You got to drive it, drive it properly. Drive like you got a head on your shoulders, like you know what you're doing. But you don't have any liability. You don't have any responsibility as far as the vehicle itself. Now you're responsible for getting it down the road safely and the load safely and all that, yada, yada, yada. But you have nothing, you have minimal weight on your shoulders, stress holding you down. So for some people, that may be great. I function well under stress. I function better under stress. So for me, owner op makes a lot more sense. Not to mention, I have full control over my time off. Even as a lease owner op like you were, you kind of got control over your time off, but ultimately you were at the mercy of the guy that was running the load board, whether or not he wanted to give you the load that you were looking at.
Yeah, because some companies do require minimums to be out for the lease ops, 2-3 weeks. I mean, I got to pick my home time. Sometimes I go home every 2 weeks. Sometimes I go home once a month. But I dictated how much time I could take off. Some of them tell you, oh, you can only take a maximum of 5 days. No, that don't work for me if I'm paying that truck bill.
So that's something that I have always liked about here. I don't even have to send an email, but out of courtesy, I would find a way to get a hold of my dispatcher. Hey, I'm taking off from here to here. Our policy is 1 load minimum month. Everyone's a little bit different. I think most of the companies hold that 1 load a month minimum. But realistically, you could take 6 weeks in a row off. You take 1 load the first week of a month, you take your 3 weeks off for the rest of the month, your 3 weeks of the first of the other month, and then 1 load in the last week of the month. You just took 6 weeks off, and no one cared. You didn't have to put in a request, you didn't have to file any paperwork, you didn't have nothing. Now again, as a courtesy, I send an email or a phone call or something so that they know what I'm doing, what my plan is. Not I just disappeared, because they know the rate at which I typically am running loads. But having that full freedom, that full control over your life, but you have 100% of the responsibility, you have 100% of the burden. So it's give and take. What's the best option? That's up to you. I just did this video, pulled her in so that we could hopefully give you as much information as possible, let you think about things, and see what your best fit is. Anything that you can think of that we didn't cover, or anything on your mind that you think they should know as far as all of this.
I mean, in my opinion, this is just from me, I've been on the road for 3.5 years, and too many people jump into a lease operator that have only driven for 6 months. I say, get a year under your belt as a company driver. Really be interested in learning the industry so you can succeed. A lot of people come in and only do it for 6 months thinking they know it all, get into these big ass truck notes and these trailer payments with these mega carriers, signing these contracts, and they get themselves in a big financial bind. So I say, like, take the time, learn the industry, stack your money away so you don't have to do that. I only did it because I didn't have the credit or the money to put down on a truck. Lease operator is a good way to get your foot in the door, but you're not gonna own that truck. They make it so you can't own it.
Unless they want you to.
Unless they want you to.
Which is not a very common occurrence.
No.
All right. I appreciate you coming in and giving your information on this video. That was huge. Like I said in the beginning, I knew the owner-op side, but you've had your foot in every bit of everything else. So I thought this was something that I could use and be helpful for all of you. So with that, we're going to go inside. We're going to finish our laundry. We're going to grab ourselves some lunch, finish packing up the trucks, get everything ready, because as I said earlier, she's got her orientation tomorrow. That should be over by Tuesday, and hopefully I'm back. Well, I should be back by Tuesday, no problem. And then again, we're trying to get home. So as soon as we can both manage to find a load to get us home, that's what we're going to do. And well, that's that. Can't wait to see where this next chapter in life takes us. It's going to be amazing, I'm certain, and I can't wait to bring all of you along for the ride. So with that, as always, those of you out on the roads, I wish you fair winds and following seas. Take care and have a great day.